rgv500 based on 1997 GSXR 600 frame, GSXR 750 swing arm, TLR 1000 6-inch rear wheel, 2008 GSXR 1000 front brakes, front shocks, steering damper. On the other side, have a bit more of a closer look in a sec. 2008 1000 rear brakes, adapted to suit the 750 swing arm. Instead of there being a lovely big bolt going all the way up there to that bracket, just there, we've had a custom bracket attached to the swing arm, as you can see, to hold the newer model in. Just fitted the newer model master cylinder to the older swing arm. Go along, still got to be tidied up, a few measurements on it. Then we go to sexy rgv500 based V4. Let's have a look at the boring stuff first. GSXR 600/750 front wheel, 3 20mm GSXR 1000 discs. Well, really they're SV 1000 discs on the older style wheel, with adapters holding the newer style calipers off. How brake lines, braided lines, the newer model forks, lovely goodness. A little bit of an adaptation to get the 2008 steering damper mounted to the older style frame. It was an optional extra. They did have a mount here that went off and attached it to the frame, but I think that's a little bit poxy, so I haven't done that. We've gone with that, which will work lovely and beautifully. So we go along, more RGV stuff. HCW welding from Ballarat, Jeff Hill, done a lot of the work. More swing arm stuff. The wheels, back end's back end. I want to go with the standard style bodywork because it resembles the XR89 Kevin Schwantz style, Kenny Roberts Jr. style rgv500s. Back over we go again. So front engine mount looks all pretty, no modifications to the frame at all. Then we go to, as you can see, a alley spacer to angle in the carby to allow clearance for the frame. And on this side there's a bit of an angle as well, just to tilt it in. Another lovely engine mount. More lovely engine mounts. Everything clears so far. Go down further. Really tidy engine mount down low. Fantastic looking thing. Keeps it all mounted as a solid rigid member. Then we go in. Probably better seeing it from this angle. The original output shaft on the original engine and gearbox was about here. In the 250 it all sits across in the centre of a much narrower bike. So we've made this extension for the output shaft, which is mounted to a plate where the corresponding gearbox from the second engine has been removed, and that's mounted to the frame up here, quite rigid again. It's also got a brace underneath for the shifter. Now that's just a brief little temporary thing, but it'll fit up. Oh, hang on. There you go, you can see it's got a little adapter which when it's out will bolt up to the standard Ooh, V4. Oh. So, second output shaft bearing, which mounts quite sturdy to the frame and the engine, is going to be drilled from these fittings here, which are channels that go from the pump that provides oil to all the gearbox bearings, and will also be plumbed in to provide oil and a return to this bearing as well. So all bearings will be lubricated in the standard factory manner. They're all standard bearings. All components of the engine that aren't shiny are standard. Cranks will be standard, joined in the middle with a spline, 360 degree with a firing stroke every 90 degrees, or if I decide that a screamer's not lovely, I'll go to 180 degree firing and have 2 cylinders firing all the time. 90 degree V-twin, so no balance shafts needed. Going over here, obviously lovely big tunnel, yes, I'll have to get that bored nice and smooth. Everything there looks lovely and in line. The standard gearbox will go in, all rebuilt with new bearings and washers. The clutch, I'll be using EBC branded heavy duty clutch, which is an rgv500 upgrade with clutch springs, clutch discs, as well as aluminium clutch plates instead of the standard fibre stuff, instead of the standard steel plates, just for better heat dissipation. I've got primary gears being made up with a same dimension but altered ratio from More Performance Engineering in the UK. They'll spin the gearbox slightly quicker. Instead of 1.8 to 1, I think it's spinning at around 2.4 to 1. So it'll spin the gearbox considerably faster. I'll have to downsize and play around with the gearing, but I'll end up winding it out pretty nicely. Overall, God only knows what it weighs at the moment, but better. I've got a whole box full of rebuilt, relined cylinders with matched pistons to each individual barrel. I'm going to be welding up a whole heap of spark plug holes, machining straight, instead of, as you can see, angled spark plugs, straight spark plugs, and machining the cylinder heads for my own sort of design combustion chamber with a bit of a sports proven setup. I'll be using a Zeeltronics engine management unit, which will run the power valves itself and do the ignition itself, so I can set that up to suit whatever I want. Basically it's an aftermarket management system, and there's a lot of data already out there about running the 2-cylinder version with programs to suit anything from race spec RGVs to decent spec standard models. Standard RGV looking at about 65 horsepower when it's fresh. The wheels, this will be obviously 2 of them with 1 gearbox worth of losses, potentially 130. If I get both engines closer to sort of 67, 70 horsepower each, who knows, upwards of around 140 horses. The standard bike, when full of fuel, weighs 180 kilos. I'm hopefully taking about 20-30 kilos out with this engine instead of using the big ugly 4-stroke thing. That thing, oh my god, look how heavy it is. So it'll be pretty. Anyway, take some pics of some parts soon. Enjoy.